What's up everyone, MeetJP2 here, and in today's video, we have probably one of the best videos I'll ever make. I know I've said that a lot, but this one I truly do think. It might not be as good as future videos, I don't know. But for now, this is probably going to be one of the best videos on my channel. Now this video has a level 50 Galarian Articuno. Now this, I've been waiting for over a year for this. I've been gathering the XLs because someone I know, I got lucky friends with them, and I was just waiting for them to get a Galarian Articuno, because this is a Pokemon, I saw Galarian Articuno, and I immediately knew I wanted to use the thing in the Master League. I don't remember exactly why, but I immediately started gathering the XLs, and over the course of a year, I've managed to get them because Articuno has come into raids, well, the regular form, not Galarian, but it has come into raids at least a couple times, so I managed to get enough XLs to power this thing up. Now, this thing, it hits like a truck, but it's also not that glassy, which is nice. Like, it's still probably glassy by Master League standards, but I don't think it's that squishy. Anyways, that's it. Let's get to the battles. Alright, so into the first battle, and we lead Greninja into Rhyperior. Very good lead. Opponent immediately safe switches Zygarde. I really don't have a good response to Zygarde on this team, because Galarian Articuno can't really hit it for any meaningful damage without debuffing itself, which is unfortunate, and the Necrozma is going to get hit by super effective by Crunch. Now, thankfully, Sunsteel Strike hits like an absolute truck even on a Zygarde, so we're still going to be able to do meaningful damage, and while I probably will have to concede a shield here, I might be able to just get a full farm down. They actually just switch out, and I'm just going to go for Dark Pulse. Just trying to delay the switch clock, because they probably knew I was on a Sunsteel and no-shield it because of that. But I just wanted to stall the switch clock so I could send in Greninja. Easiest bait of my life, there's no way they're not shielding that double super effective Hydro Cannon. They then go for a Rock Wrecker, which is questionable considering the fact that Greninja probably gets taken out by a Breaking Swipe at that range anyways. They actually called an Ice Slash bait the second time, which is impressive. And we're going to catch the Crunch onto Articuno. I actually might have taken them out with a Shadow Claw, but I wanted to get at least a bit of farm, and I was worried I might have just thrown the game away after doing that. And the Crunch got the defense debuff. So after this Brave Bird, I am now at -4, I think. And so they go for a close combat. They're trying to save energy, but they debuff themselves, and now they're going to have to shield this Ancient Power, because that close combat didn't KO. So they basically just threw this game away by not going for Moonblast, but we will take it. We see Kyogre on the lead in the next battle. Now, while on paper, this would seem like a good lead typing-wise, because we're able to hit them with a bunch of neutral charge moves, and theirs take a lot longer to charge. The stat products just kind of skew this in Kyogre's favor, and by a lot, because we are barely outpacing them for damage, and we're the one throwing charge moves. They aren't. They do go for a Thunder, which will take me out. I think a Surf could have taken me out at that range too, but I guess they just wanted to guarantee it, or they just didn't know. But anyways, we're going to send in Articuno, go for the Ancient Power and take him out, and the opponent sends in Excadrill. Now, Galarian Articuno, we have Brave Bird. I'm just going to throw the Brave Bird. That does a very respectable amount of damage. And at this point, I frankly might be able to just Shadow Claw through the Excadrill. The opponent probably realizes that. I think they did. That's why they sent in Zarude. And I'm just straight Sun Stealing. I really have no idea why they didn't shield that, but okay. And so, now we're just going to shield Necrozma, fully farm them down because they're not making another Dark Pulse. And they're going to send an Excadrill. And we're going to catch the Drill Run. This catch was so wicked that the opponent just forced quit the app. The Drill Run does nothing, and we just farm them down, and we take that match. And they were left with 2 shields. We see probably the worst possible lead. Going to immediately safe switch into Necrozma, and the opponent is going to respond with Gyarados. Now, this is a very flippable matchup, especially when I'm up as much energy as I am. Now, I am going to have to mute my notifications. I think that was me turning Do Not Disturb on. But now, I'm just going to be able to go for a Dark Pulse into the Gyarados. This will do some nice damage. And at this point, they've already given up a shield, so I'm fine committing one of my own. So they can go for the Aqua Tail, and I will not be able to Shadow Claw farm them down, but I will be able to go for a Dark Pulse to take them out, and switch advantage is now mine. They send in the Primarina again. I might be able to make it to a Sunsteel. I actually am. And now, this will take out the Primarina, so they will shield it, and they will get a very nice farm down. But we have Galarian Articuno, and Galarian Articuno is so spammy. I think it's one of the Pokemon's fastest to reach Brave Birds. They then send in Kyogre, and so I'm just going to Brave Bird the Kyogre. I think throw like a couple more Psycho Cuts, try to get as close to a Brave Bird as possible, and send in Greninja. Now, this might be a Thunder, and it is. Goodbye, Greninja. Thankfully, though, I should be able to just farm up, and here I am 1 energy short of an Ancient Power plus a Brave Bird. Ancient Power is 45, Brave Bird is 55, and I was at 99 energy there. So I actually got really scared at that moment because I wasn't sure if the Charm would KO. Thankfully, it didn't, and we take the game. We see a Ho leading the next battle. Opponent safe switches Dialga. And the Dialga matchup, I don't like it because they can actually flip it if they just want to double shield and manage to land a Draco. So if they want to double shield, they can probably take switch here. But I have a Galarian Articuno that I would be happy to give 2 shields and just watch it cook. So we're going to go for double Dark Pulses. They do not shield, and we're actually able to take switch and shield advantage. Now, opponent sends back in Ho-Oh, and they have Togekiss in the back. Now, Togekiss, I have a Shundo Togekiss. I use it sometimes, but overall, it can get very annoying. The opponent's probably just going to try and shield and charm through. That's me turning Do Not Disturb on again because my friends were all texting each other. Anyways, we're going to farm up to basically double Ancient Powers. We're 1 off, so we'll be able to go for the first one, and we'll be able to go for the second Ancient Power. This one will take them out, so goodbye Togekiss, and they send back in Ho-Oh. Now this Ancient Power will not take them out, and I probably should have just sent in Greninja anyways, just to get more farm, but I was curious how much it did. Now, we make it to a Hydro Cannon before they even make it to another move. Also, since we had a shield and Ho-Oh can't store 2 moves at the same time, we win that game instantly, but it saves us time that they didn't have to throw. We see Groudon lead in the next battle. Pretty good lead for us. If we get hit by a Precipice Blades, Greninja is just going to disappear, but as long as we can shield it, we're fine. They throw an alignment as well, which is kind of nice because we get a full Water Shuriken. And now, these Water Shurikens should get them into Night Slash range. Night Slash will take them out from this range, and it has a small boost chance. No boost, unfortunately, and then the opponent sends in Zarude. Now, I am kind of running an ABB style team here, because I have 2 Psychic types in the back, and Greninja is probably my best answer to a Dark type. They then send in Necrozma, and this kind of looks like a game over. So, I'm going to send my Greninja in, and I think that was not supposed to be CMP. I think I should have made that before them. But whatever, 1 turn bring in. It happens a lot. I've gotten used to it. Doesn't mean I like it, but it's fine. Regardless, our Necrozma, I think we might be able to make it to 2 Dark Pulses. And if we do take them out with the Dark Pulse, they still have the Zarude. Now, my only win con is to get a bait called here, but they know for a fact that I'm not making the 2 moves. So, I mean, I was baiting, but I don't think I was making the 2 moves anyways. So, we do lose that game. Pretty bad lead in the next battle. Just Greninja and Zacian. It's overall negative, but it's not as negative as you'd think. Because Hydro Cannons, like, once they debuff themselves, as long as you play to CMP, like I do, now they have to debuff themselves unless they have Play Rough. And as a result, this Hydro Cannon will KO, so they have to give up a shield. So, they're going to shield. Now, they're probably going to farm up more. They farm up another one, and I'm just going to let this go. They close combat me. It takes me out. I send in Necrozma, and then they pivot into Lugia. Now, I am perfectly fine to stay in this matchup, because Necrozma has a very good matchup into Lugia. I will be able to make it to 2 Dark Pulses before they throw a move. They were probably at a move there, they just chose not to throw it. And now, they had to commit a shield because of that. I'll just leave my Articuno with that shield advantage, and they go for Sky Attack. They didn't even go for an Aeroblast. I don't know if they're expecting to make into another move or not, but they don't now. Now, we're going to make another absolutely brutal catch, as we're going to catch the close combat on Articuno, and in the bag it's Ho-Oh, so this game's over. They're not going to want to throw a Brave Bird, so they're probably going to farm up another Incinerate, and we get to make it to another Ancient Power because of how stupidly spammy Articuno is. We even get the boost, and the opponent is not dealing with that, and they concede the match. We see Metagross on the lead in the next battle. Very good lead, as we're going to resist Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, although Meteor Mash still hits like a truck. But we're going to be able to go for a Night Slash. Opponent then pivots into Garchomp, and Garchomp, they're on Mud Shot, so Articuno is going to resist their fast move, but I was hoping they were running Sand Tomb here. They weren't. Now my best counter to Metagross, actually no. My second best counter to Metagross, one of my counters, is gone. Necrozma can still deal with it. Turns out they're triple ground, which is a absolutely nuts thing to run on Garchomp, because if they see like a Dragonite or something, they just lose, but looks like they're content to just throw Sand Tombs into an Articuno. We're going to send in Necrozma. They send in Metagross. I don't understand that decision. I don't think anything has a worse matchup in Necrozma than, like, Fairy type. Oh, that's why. Anyways, we take that game. We see another Groudon lead in the next battle. The opponent sends in Yveltal, and as I've said before, I have an ABB Psychic team, so I kind of have to stay in here, and I can't really afford to lose my Greninja. Now, I say that as I no-shield the Oblivion Ring, but this Yveltal is actually on Snarl. Not entirely sure why, but it does mean that I am going to be able to do much better into it, as I can tank an Oblivion Wing, but if it was on Sucker Punch, I'd just get farmed down. Now, I am going to have 2 moves loaded. They send in a Dialga. It's a non-origin Dialga, so it's actually Glacier. But we're going to be able to go for Hydro Cannon and Night Slash. I thought it was going to be the Groudon coming in, which I blind through a Hydro, but it wasn't. Now, the opponent, I was trying to catch a Precipice Blades there. I don't even know if I farmed up correctly. Precipice Blades is 8 now after the Mudshot nerf, and I might have farmed up to 7, which is my mistake. But it's not that big of a deal, because Articuno can still do very well. Keep in mind that I have a Sunsteel banked, so as long as I can get an Ancient Power bait off to get their shield, then go for Brave Bird to get their second shield, we should be fine. They make a nice switch into Dialga though, and they're going to be able to absorb the Brave Bird, and they're not going to be able to make it to another move though. Now, I'm pretty sure my lose con here is to not straight Sunsteel, so I'm going to straight Sunsteel them, and now I think they dumped all of their energy into Fire Punches onto Articuno, so they didn't have enough energy to make another move. So we hit him with a Sunsteel, take him out, and we take that game. We lead Greninja into Giratina Origin in the next battle. Pretty good lead. We're a hard wall to all their energy, but they're going to make a very nice catch in the Night Slash on a Dialga. I'm fine with this though. That chip damage is actually pretty useful because it makes it a lot easier for us to farm them down after a Dark Pulse. This Dialga, I don't even think they farmed out to a Draco there. So now I'm just going to farm up a bunch of energy, because now if they send in the Giratina Origin, they're going to have to eat a Dark Pulse, as Dark Pulse takes out the Dialga, and they send in the Giratina. This Dark Pulse will hit for a very nice amount of damage, so the Giratina gets put into the yell. Now if they go for full farm down, my Necrozma will make it to another Dark Pulse. They probably should shield this. Now I'm going to send in Greninja. As long as they're not on Dragon Pulse, we're fine. Looks like they are not on Dragon Pulse, and we're going to be able to make it to Night Slash. I think they still have a bit of residual energy, so I wouldn't blame them for shielding, but they don't. They then send in Rhyperior. I'm just going to grab a shield from them with the Hydro Cannon, because that will easily take them out. And we're going to send in Articuno. Now I'm going to call a bait here, and they actually do bait. I do get debuffed, which is unfortunate considering it's a 50% attack chance. But as you're going to see, a lot of moves that have a small percent chance to activate something are going to happen, as I get the Ancient Power boost. Now I will shield the Breaking Swipe. They get another attack debuff. And now I don't think they're at a Rock Wrecker. They get another attack debuff. I think that's like a 1 out of 8 chance, like a 12% chance for that to happen. Basically the same chance as me getting an Ancient Power boost. I'm going to shield again because my health's getting kind of low. Breaking Swipe, no attack debuff that time. And so now I'm going to go for an Ancient Power. Ancient Power does very little damage. We're like double attack debuffed right now. But it'll get him into Brave Bird range. Brave Bird, despite being resisted and double debuff, takes him out, and we take the game. See another Metagross lead in the next battle. This time, opponent immediately safe switches into Dragonite. If I had like a Togekiss or something in the back, I think the opponent just loses on the spot. But, oh, I see they were a Home Slice Henry viewer as they were running Hurricane on their Dragonite, probably as a response to Togekiss. But now, I go to double Dark Pulse. Double Dark Pulse will take out the Dragonite, and the opponent sends in the Metagross. Now, if they want to get a full farm down, they're going to have to give up a shield, as Dark Pulse will hit for some very nice damage. They actually don't give up a shield, and as you can see, that was some very nice damage. Now, I'm just going to let this move go. They Meteor Mash, and we get a full farm down. What do they have in the back? Ooh, it's Dawn Wings. This is a matchup I had wanted to see. I wanted to see Articuno versus Dawn Wings, but first, let's just give Articuno a 2 shield advantage with double Night Slash. They actually do end up no shielding it, and as a result, they take a lot of damage. Now we're going to send in Galarian Articuno. We're going to go for an Ancient Power. This should KO them at this range, so they're going to shield. And even if they had 2 moves here, which I don't think they are at yet, they can't hold 3 moves. So we make it to an Ancient Power. Ancient Power will take them out, and we are able to take that game. We lead Greninja into a very bad lead Togekiss in the next battle. I immediately safe switch Necrozma, and I am punished with Groudon. Thankfully, Greninja can take care of this, and Articuno still has a very good matchup into Togekiss, considering Ancient Power, because Ancient Power will two-shot Togekiss. We're going to actually pull a Shield with that bait, and we're going to go for another Dark Pulse. I don't think I made it to a Sunsteel there, and the opponent still respects it, so it's fine. Now we send in Greninja. I'm fully expecting a bait here. It is a bait. And now the opponent sends in Togekiss. They just hard pivot, so now they kind of fall for switch advantage, only to give it up and give up 2 shields. Not the smartest play in my opinion, but if that's how they want to play, they can play like that. Regardless, we're going to shield the Ancient Power and go for an Ancient Power of our own. Now this Ancient Power will KO and gets the knockout, and they're going to send in Groudon. I'm going to shield the Fire Punch just for some residual HP because I know I have a Hydro Cannon. So I'm going to farm a bit more because the Mud Shots do, I think, 1 damage. And we're going to send in Greninja. Now, I do think I lose now, though, because Dragonite, I get an attack boost there. Like, least consequential attack boost in existence. But still an attack boost. Anyways, Dragon Claw does too much. An Ancient Power would not KO for that range. I know that for a fact. That's why I didn't throw it. And we lose that game. Pretty good lead in the next battle. Greninja into Dawnwings. Opponent safe switches Zacian. And this is pretty good for us. Now, if they throw a move, this should be a self-debuffing move. It's a close combat, and I'm going to go for a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse is going to get a shield, because the opponent definitely wants to fight for switch, because Greninja and Necrozma, very good for Greninja. They're going to throw another close combat, and at this range, Dark Pulse should KO now. It does, and now if they send in their own Necrozma, we make a Dark Pulse. So Dark Pulse will be able to land, or get a shield, which we get the latter, they shield it. Now we're going to send in Greninja, and we have a Night Slash banked. So this will hit for some very nice damage, and now they're going to go for a move. I want to save my shield for Galarian Articuno. They actually Dark Pulse bait, I think. And as a result, Greninja, ever spammy, Night Slash, takes them out. We actually get a boost, and the opponent has a Mewtwo in the back, and they just immediately leave. Kind of a shame. I want to see Articuno versus that, but whatever. We see Xerneas in the lead in the next battle. I'm actually going to safe switch Galarian Articuno here. I was curious what would happen with Galarian Articuno and Necrozma, and we're going to go for an Ancient Power. Looks like the opponent might be lagging a bit, and then this end in Dragonite. Now, this is another match I kind of wanted to see, because Ancient Power hits for some very respectable damage. Now, I'm going to actually start shielding, because I feel like I might be able to pressure switch advantage, because I have the pacing advantage for Ancient Power. The opponent, not willing to fight for switch, and now they're going to just hit me with a Moonblast. Moonblast gets an attack debuff, which did basically nothing. But then the opponent has Rhyperior in the back, and down a shield, this is bad. Rhyperior up a shield should just beat Greninja, and my attack is debuffed. I might be able to get both shields with double Hydros, or they can let it go. That is also a thing you can do. But now, we're going to Hydro Cannon the Xerneas, they're going to shield it, and they throw a move here. I don't know why, probably trying to preserve some amount of HP or the shield, throwing energy so they wouldn't have to shield the Hydro Cannon. But my Necrozma is way too tanky now, and so they can go for a close combat, but it's just not going to take me out. Another fairly good lead, Greninja and Landorus. Opponent safe switches Yveltal, and I'm forced to stay in here. Now, my Necrozma, it doesn't have a good matchup into Landorus, but it has a much worse matchup into Yveltal. Same for Galarian Articuno. As a result, I have to keep my Greninja in because it's the only thing that resists Dark. And the opponent is fighting hard for switch here, which is very bad for me. Thankfully, Greninja resists Sucker Punch, and I should be able to make it to another Hydro Cannon. I am going to have to watch for a catch, though, because I think their clock is up. And I overfarmed by a lot here. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't do that again, because if they had thrown there, I'd probably just be screwed. But then they send in a Necrozma Dawnwings. They don't even go for a Moongeist Beam here. They just straight Dark Pulse me, and they don't even send in Landorus. I don't know what they're cooking, but they must have some strategy here. Now, Galarian Articuno. Keep in mind, they're, I think, 6 off of the Stone Edge, and so I'm just going to go for 5 for the Ancient Power, and just go for a Hydro Cannon. Either that would get a sacrificial swap on the Stone Edge, or we just Hydro Cannon them, and we Hydro Cannon them, and we take the game. On paper, this is a good lead, but Smackdown, even though it was nerfed, still does quite a bit of damage, and as a result, Greninja doesn't do the best here. I kind of have to shield the Brutal Swing, because if I no-shield it, then they just shield and they farm me down. Thankfully now I am at double Night Slashes, Night Slash will take them out from this range, and we get an attack boost. That's always nice. Unfortunately, it's not going to be doing too much, because it only boosts one Night Slash. That Waterfall KOs us, and I'm going to have to send in Necrozma. Now, Necrozma will be able to tank Surf. Surf, with the change from this season, does more damage, but it's more expensive, and now I'm just going to go for Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse probably gets them close to getting taken out, and it does, and a couple more Shadow Claws take them out, and in the back it's Lugia. Now, we get to see the battle of the Flying and Psychic types, but Lugia, I think, has the edge here. We have Ancient Power, which can hit for super effective, but Lugia is just a tank. We go for the Ancient Power. I think we need like a boost or something to win. We're going to go for a second Ancient Power. They're probably going to shield this one. They actually don't. And now, I think we need 2 more Ancient Powers. I was concerned about an Aeroblast or Sky Attack, actually, because Sky Attack got a similar treatment to Surf, where it does a lot more damage now, but Lugia's pacing is worse now. They're going to shield the Ancient Power. We get the boost, and I throw the game away on the spot. I probably could have made it to a Ancient Power, or tanked a Sky Attack, because my defense was boosted, but I just throw both of those away, so yeah, I wanted to include that battle just to show how easily a game can get thrown away. This opponent is ABA weak to water, so yeah, this game was almost over on the spot because they have to safe switch a Mamoswine, and they're on Powder Snow too. And they have to safe switch that into a Greninja because their initial lead was so bad. And I'm fine with just having Greninja take out Mamoswine because Articuno can deal with Ho-Oh. They have Annihilate in the back, I'm immediately going to send in Articuno. Because I know for a fact I can farm up, they're probably going to send in Ho-Oh because they're scared of the Psychic Flying type into their Fighting type. So now we're just going to be able to go for Ancient Powers. That hits for a ton of damage, and now we're going to be able to go for another one. This will take out the Ho-Oh, guaranteed, and the opponent does choose to no-shield it. Now, I kind of want to go for a Brave Bird, and I'm going to CMP tie them here with an Ancient Power, because they're definitely shielding this. They do shield it. That wasn't CMP, actually, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought it was, but we're going to go for a Hydro Cannon, get them very low. Annihilate is still tanky, even though Counter got nerfed. Like that, they nerfed the move, not the Pokemon, but now they're going to go for Night Slash. They're still going to be able to make it to a Shadow Ball here. This should be a Shadow Ball. And I just decided, you know what? I kind of want to let Articuno finish this. So Articuno, Psycho cuts him down, and we take that game. This is just a negative matchup because, first of all, Thundershock hits are super effective, which isn't very consequential because it's a low damage move. But they just have the absolute insane bulk of Melmetal on their side. And so they can go for a move. If that was a superpower, Greninja just dies in the spot. But it's not. They Rock Slide me. And since Rock Slide got nerfed, we're actually able to go for second Hydro. And that second Hydro gets them pretty low, actually. Now Necrozma can come in, probably farm him down. And this, even if this is a superpower, it's not going to do too much. I guess they aren't on superpowers. They Rock Slide me. Rock Slide does basically nothing. And then they send in a Garchomp. Now, I am not baiting. And that did quite a lot. We just fully farm him down. And they have a Mewtwo in the back. Now, I can probably just double Dark Pulse to strip them of both their shields, or they can let it go, probably just conceding the match, but we take that game. This is one of the more dominant leads, as Greninja, I think, makes 2 Night Slashes and can tank a Shadow Ball pretty easily anyways. So we're going to go for Night Slash. They shield it, so they're probably fighting for Switch. Now, I know I lose CMP, so I overfarm. They Side Strike bait me, and then they send in Rillaboom of all things. And it's on Razor Leaf too, so I took 1 Razor Leaf on Greninja, and that did quite a lot. Regardless, Articuno can easily deal with Rillaboom, as I think that was a CMP tie. Now, I don't know what moves Rillaboom has. We get the boost. But if it had like Crunch or something, I want to be safe, so I shield it, and we're just going to get a nice farm down. Now, we're going to be able to go for an Ancient Power into the Mewtwo. They're probably going to shield this. They actually don't, and it does a respectable amount of damage. Now I shield, it's a Side Strike bait, because of course, and now we're just going to go for an Ancient Power. This might get a shield, this might be let go. They let it go, and in the back it's Ho-Oh. Now this could actually end up being bad. Now I'm going to go for the Ancient Power, they're going to shield this, they know I have it. And now they can't farm it out, so I actually just sack the Greninja. And so I was hoping that Greninja could win CMP there, because Ho-Oh is a bit more bulk oriented, but we still lose CMP, which is unfortunate. Now, I'm just going to send in Necrozma. I thought I could make it to a Sunsteel, because Sunsteel did more, but I wasn't aware. I miscalculated the energy that the Ho-Oh was at. Thankfully, Articuno still makes an Ancient Power, but that miscalculation could have cost me the game. Another good lead, as we see another Metagross. I think Metagross, it's less common, because it's gotten pushed out of the meta by Necrozma Duskmane. because Necrozma Duskmane is basically just a better Metagross. They then proceed to throw an alignment. We're going to no shield Meteor Mash, and we're going to be able to go for Night Slash. Now this shouldn't take them out, but I don't think we can even Water Shuriken and farm them down either. But thankfully we're going to be able to go for another Night Slash. That'll take them out, and then they send in Garchomp. Now I have to send in Necrozma just because I don't want Articuno to tank the neutral Dragon Tails, but Necrozma's going to have to tank the Sand Tombs and the resisted Dragon Tails. So I don't know which one's better. We're going to go for Dark Pulse. They shield it because Sunsteel Strike will probably just take them out. And now I don't like that I have to shield the Sand Tomb, but since I was debuffed, that would actually start to add up. Now I'm going to go for another Dark Pulse. They shield it. And now they're going to go for Sand Tomb. I have to shield this because I do have a Dark Pulse loaded now, and I want to get that damage off. So I'm going to go for the Dark Pulse, send in Articuno, and Articuno can get 2 Psycho Cuts ahead. Now in the back it's Kyogre, and I think those 2 Psycho Cuts might have won me the game, as now I should be able to outpace them. If they go for a Surf, I don't think it takes me out, so I think they had to try go for a Thunder there. So now I can just go for the Brave Bird. Brave Bird takes out the Kyogre, and we take that game. We see Ursaluna on the lead in the next battle. Good lead for us. Opponent safe switches Dragonite, and we're going to be able to send in Necrozma. Now we're going to be able to probably tank a move here. They go for a Superpower, so now their Dragon Breaths, I think their Dragon Breaths do less, and this should just be a Dragon Claw bait. Now, their defense is debuffed, so this Dark Pulse probably will get them very close to getting taken out, and it does. Now, we leave with a Sunsteel, so if they send in Ursaluna, that Ursaluna is going to take like 75% of its health. That was me turning Do Not Disturb on again, and now the opponent sends in Togekiss as a response to my Greninja. Now, the thing I don't like about this is Articuno is just going to get Double Shield farmed through, which kind of sucks, but it's fine because we're going to be able to get both their shields, and Greninja has a Hydro Cannon loaded, so we'll be able to snipe them the moment Greninja comes in. So we do lose a bit of energy, but we're not going to actually have to, take any charms. We actually don't have a Hydro Cannon loaded, never mind. Anyways, we're going to be able to tank a Swift because we have a Protect Shield up, and now we're going to be able to go for Hydro Cannon. Hydro will take out the Ursaluna. We do lose CMP to Togekiss, but we have a shield, so Aura Sphere would definitely take us out, but we can shield it. Hydro Cannon takes out the Togekiss, and we do take that game. Pretty bad lead as we see Primarina. We're going to immediately send in Necrozma, and just do not respond to a Necrozma safe switch with your own Necrozma, because you will lose. You are down energy. That's just how it works. So now I just get switch advantage for free in the 2 shields. And as a Brave Bird user, Articuno is fine being in the 0 shield. So now I'm just going to be able to shield again, and my switch clock is up. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to make a catch or something, but we're just going to Dark Pulse, and Dark Pulse will take them out. Now they send in Goodra. I make it to a Dark Pulse. I would have preferred a Sunsteel, but Dark Pulse will have to do. It does some okay damage. And now I send in Greninja because this is the better matchup, as we're not about to get charmed through. Now Night Slash does some okay damage. Opponent is actually on Waterfall, so they're going to pace to Hydro Cannons a lot better. And so Hydro Cannon does some nice damage, and I will have to go for a Brave Bird to debuff myself. I was hoping I might be able to make it to another one against the Goodra, but I'm not sure. Now, I didn't even try, I just went for the Ancient Power. I was honestly convinced that that would take him out, but it doesn't. Now, that Goodra has a lot of energy. Now, if they have, like, Draco Meteor, which they do, we lose. I think Greninja might have tanked a Thunder Punch from that range, but we're definitely not tanking a Draco, so we do lose that game. We see a Rhyperior lead in the next battle, and the opponent immediately safe switches Zacian, and so I'm 100% sure that there is a Charmer in the back, because I saw this team 3 times in a row. Now, I'm going to be able to go for a Sunsteel. The opponent just lets it go, they get taken out, and now, because we have enough HP, we're going to be able to make it to another Sunsteel, so we get switch advantage and shield advantage, because they don't want to get their Rhyperior one-shot. There's the Charmer, and Togekiss is not going to like to deal with Articuno, because Articuno is bulky enough to tank the Charms, because Charm kind of sucks in the Master League, honestly, it doesn't do enough. And at this point, I'm just going to save both shields for Greninja. They get the Ancient Power boost too, which is funny, but it's not really going to save them, because we're going to be able to just get them into a range where Hydro Cannon KOs, and now the Rhyperior, they're down 2 shields. There are 0 out of the 14 million universes where Rhyperior wins this. We do lose CMP, and that's another Breaking Swipe, and Breaking Swipe is going to get both debuffs, so it's like 25% chance. And the Hydro Cannon doesn't KO because of that, which really scared me, but thankfully we just farm down and we take the game. There's another one of those teams. I swear these are actually different battles. Like, this stuff actually happened differently in these battles, trust me. Anyways, we're going to go for Sunsteel. This opponent actually trying to fight for Switch. They're probably over farming just to wait for me to throw my energy. They're going to Wild Charge me. They're going to farm up again. I'm just going to Dark Pulse, because this will deal a lot of damage now. And at this point, I'm fine just double shielding and farming them down, because that means I get to throw a Sunsteel into Rhyperior, which is fine. I would rather not go down a shield, but what are you supposed to do in that situation? They're going to send in Rhyperior. We're going to go for Sunsteel. And now, Sunsteel gets their shield. Oh, or they can let it go. It's a Charmer in the back. Like, I saw this team so many times. Anyways, we're going to be able to go for an Ancient Power. This is just a bait, basically. And they shield it, and there's a boost. That boost doesn't matter because Brave Bird KOs anyway, but now Brave Bird is overkill, and that's always fun. Into the next battle. Another Rhyperior lead. And so, the opponent safe switches a Charmer. Yeah, there's 100% a Zacian or something in the back. Like, I would not be surprised because I've seen this team 7 times now, basically. And they send in Rhyperior. Now, Rhyperior, I'm actually going to bait them this time because there's no way they don't shield this. And now I might be able to get a second Dark Pulse to throw into them. I do. They're not going to shield this. They know it's a Dark Pulse. But it's going to deal some okay damage. Now, I am going to let this go if this is a Rock Wrecker, kind of goodbye Greninja, but it's not. And there, it's Rhyperior double Fairy again. I saw this, these were 3 back-to-back battles. I was kind of disappointed in the Master League at that time. And we get another boost. Articuno is just boosting because it doesn't like these teams or something, I guess. We're going to be able to Brave Bird into the Primarina once again. Overkill. And Rhyperior, we're going to shield because I kind of want Articuno to finish this battle. So now, we're going to be able to go for an Ancient Power. We were at a Brave Bird there. I could have gone for it. But Ancient Power will do the trick. It'll take him out. And we do take that game. We see a Shadow Rhyperior now. And this opponent safe switches Necrozma. So finally a different Rhyperior team. Now I'm going to throw a Night Slash. I can't respond to this Necrozma safe switch with my own Necrozma. That's the main problem. Now I'm going to have to go down a shield. Just because I don't want to have them be able to double shield and Shadow Claw through my Greninja. Because I would be pretty low after that Dark Pulse. I'm going to have to let this go. But I still can't farm them down with Water Shurikens. So I'm just going to snipe them with my own. They're going to send in Rhyperior now, but I'll be able to grab a shield immediately with a Sunsteel Strike. I don't think I make it to 2 moves anyways, so Sunsteel's a better idea. I then make the bozo mistake of just Dark Pulsing. They know that's not a Sunsteel. They're not shielding. I don't make another move. I'm going to be able to Night Slash them, though, and unfortunately my Greninja's low enough that the Mud Slaps take me out. There's really not much Articuno can do here. I can try and call a bait. They actually do bait. But they're already at another move. And I think they have enough energy for a Rock Wrecker here. It is a Rock Wrecker, and we just get destroyed. We see a Ho-Oh in the next battle. Pretty good lead for us. The opponent then sends in Zacian. Now, Zacian, they need 2 charge moves to take me out here. And so, I always just no-shield the first one, and then shield the second one. Because at this point, after they do that, that Dark Pulse is going to hit for a ton of damage. So, we're going to be able to go for 1 Dark Pulse. This actually gets a shield, so they probably want to fight for Switch. I'm going to go for another Dark Pulse. If they shield this, then I'm probably going to shield back. They don't, and they don't even go for another move. They get taken out. Now, they send in Ho-Oh. I don't make it to another move, which kind of sucks. And now, what I don't like is Ho-Oh's just Brave Birding and switching out. And they have Zarude in the back. Now, this could get really bad really quickly if they call an Ancient Power bait. Now, a lot of people don't know that Articuno doesn't have a flying type attack that doesn't debuff itself, so a lot of people just assume I'm not baiting. They do end up shielding, and now we're going to be able to go for a Brave Bird. Brave Bird will nuke the Zarude. And now, they should be 2 Incinerates off, so now they're 1 off after this move. But they have to go for another Incinerate, and we make another Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will take out the Ho-Oh, and we barely take that game, honestly, but we still take it. Overall, this thing performed a lot better than I thought it would. Like, on PV Poke, it's ranked like 200 and something. It's actually ranked lower than the base form Articuno, which is like 600 combat power lower. And the thing does not have many good matchups just against the meta straight on. Like if you do the PvPoke Matrix battles, it's not that good. But it actually performed a lot better than I thought it would. And I'm very happy with the results. Like this thing is obviously a massive hassle to get because you have to get the Pokemon and get the XLs. And it just costs a lot to get. But overall, I was happy with it. The main concern I had with this before I ran it was that it would be absurdly glassy. Like you've seen, like I think like Callum on Toast did like a video of Great League Articuno, or a couple that have Articuno in the Great League. And the thing's just so glassy in the Great League. And I was concerned that it would end up being glassy in this league too. But it was actually bulkier than I expected. Like still not like a tank, it's not Lugia. But it did have more bulk than I expected. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that. So this thing definitely was fun, and I'm very glad that I powered it up, and I am glad that I did not give up on getting this thing over the course of a year. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.